and good morning, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Youngvscholars Academy. And every morning we come to you, we talk about our program. We're looking forward, we're based out of the Boys and Girls Club Family Center. And we've been around for about 4 to 5 years. We have a reading program. We offer academic assistance. We teach science, arts, literature, all of that wonderful stuff to ensure that our scholars are as brilliant as we expect them to be. So, because of the pandemic, we're attempting to do everything virtually. So every week we're coming on, we're bringing readers, both adult readers and youth readers, to share with us. So my name is Daryl Moss. Miss Ardera Cave is normally with us. She is our academic director, but she may be joining us later on this morning. We'll find out. But until then, we're going to keep the show rolling. We have 3 very special guests who are going to read for us. We have Miss Amaya, Miss Ayana, and we have Miss Bukowski. So if you guys are ready, I like to jump right into things. And what I'll do is I'll let Miss Bukowski introduce herself, and then she can talk about what she's going to be reading, and then we'll share these wonderful stories. Good morning, Miss Bukowski.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you? Thank you for having me on. It's such a pleasure for me to be able to read. It's one of my passions.
Awesome.
My name's Lisa Bukowski. I am honored to be the principal at Bolin Elementary School in Springfield.
Yay!
Woo! It is my great honor to be here this morning and to share with you a book that was recently shared with me by my friend Kevin Green, and it's such a beautiful book that I knew I had to share it. As you all know, this was a very, very special week this week, where we sworn in the first woman vice president and also the first vice president of color. So it's so amazing for us to be able to witness this time for all of us. But I was wondering if you knew about a little bit about the history of voting in this country. So in this country, as you may know or may not know, for many, many years, hundreds of years, not everyone had the opportunity to vote. When this country was first put together, it was only the people who owned land that were allowed to have a vote, which translates to the rich white men. It left out a lot of people who did not have a chance to voice who they would like to represent them. So as you can imagine, they were selecting people that they wanted to represent them. So you can imagine that the folks who were elected were only representing a portion of the population. And it wasn't for hundreds of years that was able to be changed, where women finally had a right to vote in the early 1900s, about 100 years ago. And as a matter of fact, when they finally allowed for Black Americans to vote, they put a lot of things in the way so that they weren't able to do that. So in essence, they were saying that, sure, we'll let anybody vote. But they put in these ridiculous rules so that not all Black people could vote. And I'm going to share a little bit in this story. It's called Granddaddy's Turn. And this story is going to speak a little bit to what I was just sharing with you. It's Granddaddy's Turn, A Journey to the Ballot Box. It was written by Michael S. Bandy and Eric Stein, and it was illustrated so beautifully by James Ransom. I think we're getting a little bit of the sunshine coming through. It's showing my book a little differently, but here are the illustrations. Where we lived, I didn't need an alarm clock. I woke up to the cock-a-doodle-doo of my pet rooster and the chugga-chugga-chugga of my granddaddy's tractor. Hurry up, boy, he would shout. I'm coming, Granddaddy, I'd say. So this looks different than my neighborhood. Probably yours too. We got work to do, my granddaddy would say. Hard work will keep you out of trouble. I guess he figured I was going to get in a whole passel of trouble because he sure gave me lots of chores. We fed the animals, we milked the cows, and we worked in the fields. He doesn't look very happy in this picture now, does he? No. My granddaddy was a big, strong man who always said he didn't take nothing off nobody. He could do anything, plow fields, chop wood, and dig fence posts, all without breaking a sweat. Not like me. Sometimes when I did my chores, I made so much sweat, it was like I was raining. They look like they have a very special relationship. We worked together a lot, but we played a lot too. We really loved to go fishing. Sometimes I would complain when I didn't get a bite right away, but my granddaddy always said, "Patience, son, patience." One morning, while we were eating breakfast, my grandmother brought out a surprise for my granddaddy. You see what the surprise is right there? Get that picture in there. She had cleaned and ironed his suit. I didn't understand that since he only wore his suit to church, and it wasn't a church day. "It's our time, and you got to look your best," my grandma said. My granddaddy was so excited, he leaped up from the table and gave her a big hug. "What's going on, Granddaddy?" I asked. You will see, he said with a big, beaming smile. I didn't like neckties too much, but since my granddaddy was wearing one, I guess I was too. "Y'all be careful now," my grandma said, "and don't forget to take pictures," she said as she handed me, my granddaddy, the camera. Oh, they look so special. We walked and walked. It seemed like 100 miles. I asked my granddaddy where we were going. "Patience, son, patience," he reminded me with a smile. Oh boy, I thought, we must be going to the county fair. I walked faster. I couldn't wait to get there. I could almost hear the music and smell the barbecue. Where are all the rides and the animals? I asked my granddaddy. He laughed and said, "What are you talking about, son?" "I thought we were going to the county fair," I said. "Take a look around," my granddaddy said. "This is better than any old fair." Then I saw the "Vote Here" sign and shouted to my granddaddy, Are you voting today?" "Yes, I am," my granddaddy proudly replied. Nobody in my family ever voted before. Where we lived, some people were allowed to vote and some people were not. I never knew anyone who had voted before. But I heard my teacher say that some new laws had changed all that. I hoped that was true because I didn't want us to get in trouble. So he thinks he might have to get in trouble for trying to vote. He looks a little bit nervous in that picture. It felt like we were standing in line forever, and every time we seemed to get a little closer, someone would cut in line in front of us. That's just how things worked where we lived. It didn't seem to bother my granddaddy, though. He said, "Patience, son. Takes patience to get what you've got coming to you." I love this photo, and I know the sunshine is kind of making it look a little funny, but I love this photo. There's Granddaddy. And there's the grandson, so excited for voting. When we finally got to the front of the line, my granddaddy proudly signed a paper and was handed a ballot. He clutched the ballot to his chest and said, "Son, this is the happiest day of my life." I took the camera from him and said, "Smile, Granddaddy." "No, come on, let's go vote," he said. Now, this is where I start to tear up a little bit. But before we could even walk to the voting booth, a deputy stopped us and asked my granddaddy, "What are you doing, uncle?" Where we lived, if the white folks didn't know your name, they usually called you uncle or George or auntie if you were a lady. "I'm voting today, sir," my granddaddy replied. The deputy got out a big, thick book and slammed it on the table. He opened it to a page with words that looked longer than a crawfish. "Can you read this, uncle?" the deputy asked. My granddaddy just stared at the pages, shook his head. "Sir, I can't," he replied. The deputy slammed the book shut and said, "Well, uncle, if you can't read this, then you can't vote." He tore up my granddaddy's ballot and threw it on the ground. I was pretty sure that man wasn't playing by the rules, but he was in charge. I could see my granddaddy was mad. As we headed back down the road toward home, my granddaddy didn't say a word. But I saw something I'd never seen before. My big, strong granddaddy had tears in his eyes. "Don't worry, granddaddy. I'll vote for you one day," I said to him. Granddaddy passed away before he ever got a chance to vote. I never forgot that day he tried to vote. My granddaddy was so mad, he might have lost his temper, but he knew better than me how important this day was. Even though it wasn't his time to vote that day, he looked to the future. See the photograph when he was just about to vote? When I went to vote for the first time, I remembered what my granddaddy always said, "Patience, son, patience." He was right. The day finally came. And I knew that, just like my granddaddy, I would never take it for granted. With his picture in my hand, I put my ballot in the box, smiled, and said to myself, "Now it's granddaddy's turn." And that's the end of the story. So I hope you enjoyed that story. And it's a great story that reminds us of how the laws of this country have not always been favorable to everyone. And so even though, as I told you before I began the story, that the laws had had named people of color as citizens, and that was the basic minimum in order to vote, is to be a citizen, they put in these crazy pieces so that not all citizens were actually able to go and vote. So although they were deemed a citizen with the right to vote, they put in these crazy things like being able to read, which were purposely put in place to keep certain folks from voting. And remember, again, like I said at the beginning, when you have a certain number of people that all look the same, you know that they're going to vote for somebody who looks the same and who has their best interests at heart. But when you open it up to all the people, then we all have a chance to vote for whoever it is that will take care of all of our needs. And that's what we hope for every time we vote. So that was my little piece, a little bit of history, but also a little nudge to make sure that we all continue to vote, because it's so important.
Wow. Thank you so much. It is so important. And I tell you, people, sometimes we act as if voter suppression took place hundreds of years ago. And tragically, I can say that it's happened right here in my lifetime. You know, I was alive I'm a 60s baby, and I remember conversations about folks going to vote. I know down in Connecticut, my parents were allowed to vote, but down in Alabama, where my grandparents are from, they weren't allowed to vote. I don't think my grandfather voted until sometime in the mid 70s. So that's how afraid they were of going to the voting booths to get their vote in. So Letitia Beezer says, that's a great book. What's the name of the book?
Oh, absolutely. It's called Granddaddy's Turn, A Journey to the Ballot Box.
Can you put the full book right in the middle? Because I want to go buy that book too. Just put the full book. People can get screenshots. There we go.
Yes. Sorry for this. There we go.
It's okay. We can see it. Granddaddy's turn. All right. So, folks, see the name of the book. Buy that book. Read that book to your kids. Actually, read it to your peers at work. Just read it.
That's right.
Let's see. Hey, Destiny Davis says, I voted for the first time this election, and all I could think about is how hard people fought for me to be able to do so. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And
in my school, Daryl, in my school, I bought a copy of this book for every teacher because, and others like it, because we need, first of all, we need children to see themselves in stories, but secondly, they need to know the history. And as you said, this wasn't very long ago.
Right.
It was definitely in our lifetime.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for reading. And I love the color that you put into the words as you're reading it for the special emphasis. I'm blown away.
Thank you. Thank you. My pleasure.
All right. Ayana, do you have any questions? Amaya, you guys have any questions for the book?
No.
No? How about you, Ayana?
I thought that was a really great book, though. But no, I do not have any questions.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Mr. Kowski.
You're welcome.
Amaya, can you hear Amaya?
Oh, Amaya, I didn't hear you. Can you say again?
What school do you go to again?
So I go to Bolin School.
I think that's where my brother is at.
Yeah.
My baby brother.
Your baby brother attends my school?
Yeah, Arsenio Cuffy Jr.
Yes, I know Arsenio. He's in my preschool class with Miss.
Yeah, that's my baby brother.
Yes, I do know him. He's a love.
He is so cute.
Yeah, he sure is, and I'm glad I got to meet you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Ms. Bukowski, before you go, you looks like you have a fan on the sidelines. Nunu is saying hello. She said it's a great school and that you're great.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Oh, it's all about relationships.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ms. Bukowski.
You're welcome.
Rob Jones, our co-director, is here. Hey, Rob, how are you? Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Good morning. Hi, Lisa Bukowski. It's been a long time.
It sure has, Mr. Jones. I was fortunate enough to have Mr. Jones' son in my school years ago.
Yeah,
he was a little guy.
Oh yeah, he's not little anymore.
I see that. It takes after his daddy.
One of the things that I loved about Miss Bukowski is that she always had something going on after hours at the school. She was really big about community and community engagement. And that was great. Like every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, there was something going on after the school. At 3:30, at 3:40, she didn't pack up and leave like you see some other principals or administrators do in the city. She stayed behind and made sure the community was well looked after and taken care of. So I appreciate your diligence and your commitment to the community, and I appreciate you. I just wanted to say that.
Thanks, Rob. That means a lot. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob. And next up, we have Amaya, one of our brilliant young scholars. Amaya, are you ready to read?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to introduce yourself for all of our viewers so they know who you are and just how brilliant you are?
I'm Amaya Israel. I'm a sister. I go to school every day. I work hard. After I'm done with school, I go help my mom with my baby brother.
Well, all right. All right. And what grade are you in, Amaya?
4th.
Well, all right. What are you going to read for us today?
My Nana and Me. By Irene Smalls and illustrated by Kathy and Johnson.
Well, all right.
My Nana and Me. My Nana and me had a tea party, and all my dolls came. We had tea and cake and ate. Bread pudding and apple pie.
Ooh.
Mm.
I wore Nana's day hat and shoes. And I put on a show. I danced like a ballerina and sang. My Nana clapped and clapped and clapped.
Can you see the pictures?
Then we played hide and seek. My Nana can never find me. I'm the smartest girl in the world. I know because my Nana told me so. And she knows everything. My Nana, a giant, she's so tall she can reach and touch the sky. She has a big long skirt that I hide behind sometimes. The Nana calls me her baby girl, but I'm not a baby. I'm big. My Nana gets down on her knees to talk to me. We rub noses the way Eskimos kiss. I comb and plait my Nana's hair, overbraid and underbraid, overbraid and underbraid.
Okay.
Next, we play patty cake till 8:30. That's when I take a bath. My Nana washes me with hands that tickle me, my nose, and dance on my back as she sings. Ach, moch, munch, bunchy bunch. Ach, moch, bunchy bunch. She calls me her sweeting girl and laughs and laughs and laughs. She sets me on her knee and reads to me story after story after story. When I ask Nana why am I her sweeting girl, Nana says because there's a sky, because there's a sea, but mostly because there is me. Then Nana, such a sleepyhead, lies down on my bed, and then so do I. Yeah.
There you go. Good job.
All right. So, Amaya, what do you like best about that book?
It talks about nanas and how you can do everything with your nana.
So, when you say Nana, what is a Nana?
A grandmother. I have a nana, so she's my grandmother.
She's your great grandmother.
Great grandmother. I mean.
Oh, you're lucky. You have your grandmother and your great grandmother. You need to
Great
get
grandmother.
Oh.
Don't get me in trouble. My mother's gonna have a fit.
And then I have my grandma, my dad's side. My mom, dad's side. I was gonna say
I'm the mom.
So why did you select that book right there about your nana?
Because my mama and I love my nana. So basically, it's about my nana, stuff like that. I love to do everything with my nana.
So did you see any similarities? Did you identify with anything in the book? Do you like bake and eat and have tea and play and all that good stuff with your nana?
Yeah, I do nails. I do her nails.
You do her nails?
And my mama's nails. And my mama's nails.
Oh, do you take appointments? I gotta get my nails done too.
Oh, sure. You know it, girl. You know it, Daddy.
All right. Anybody have any questions for Amaya?
No question, but just a comment.
It's all right.
Amaya, you did an amazing job, and I love that the book you chose. And make sure you give your Nana and your great Nana a hug and a kiss later on today.
I am.
Okay.
Well, I could get my mama a kiss, but
Mama.
my Nana.
Mama.
She lives somewhere far, so I can't get my Nana.
She's in Alabama.
Yeah, so I can give her a kiss on the phone. Not in real life.
All right.
Okay. So thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me.
Amaya, I have one more question. All the beautiful artwork in the background. It's amazing. Did you paint those?
I would,
That's the
but
president.
my Uncle Mark did.
Uncle Mark did.
Well, I wanted to paint one, but I did paint a picture before.
Yeah, you did.
But it's not in here.
But this is Uncle Mark's pictures.
Yeah.
All right. Well, tell Uncle Mark he is super, super talented, and I'm happy to. Oh, I enjoy looking at it. That's a perfect background. I'm almost jealous. I love it.
No, it's Richard Johnson. That's his paintings.
Oh, wow.
Mhm. These are all his paintings. We're at Chess Angels office.
Okay, downtown. Well, all right.
I like this one better.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
Oh, this one over here.
I like where they're sitting on the green. Is that the green carpet? The green blanket?
Yeah.
I think that might be my favorite right now. I love that.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that.
Well, thank you for reading. Thank you for reading, Amaya. I am so appreciative of you. You are so talented. Continue to grow and come back and join us anytime you want.
You're welcome.
Okay?
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
All right. And next, all the way from the Bronx, New York, how are you? Introduce yourself and welcome back.
On your face.
I'm Ayana. I'm 12 years old. I'm currently in the 7th grade, so the middle of the middles. And today's book I will be reading on to the book I started last week, which is called Frazzled. But first, I have to survive middle school. And for some reason, my crazy dreams. It goes something like this. It's the first day of school, but I'm not ready. When I get there, I don't know where to go. Then the bell rings. And I know I have to go somewhere. But where? While I'm trying to figure it out, things get worse. Then much worse. It's like Abby Wu versus the Middles. I know what I need to do, but am I right? What if I'm not? What choice do I have? I close my eyes, I go, and I don't find anything. Anything. So I fall, and fall, and fall. And my dream was an obvious sign of things to come. But when I told everybody about it at the dinner table the other night, they acted like it was no big deal. Well, except Clara, who was too busy making a mountain out of her rice to pay attention. It was terrible. Peter thought I was being dramatic, and Mom just blamed it on late night snacking. My family doesn't get me at all. When we were younger, Peter wanted to be extra mean, so he told me that I was actually an alien, and one day they would send me back to outer space. The first time he said it, I brushed it off. Then the next time he said it, I bawled my eyes out for an hour. Mom was so mad that she guarded him for a week. It was so great getting to eat his ice cream. For the most part, though, Peter never gets into trouble. He practically parents himself. Clara is starting kindergarten, so there isn't too much to worry about there. I guess you can only do so much to prepare a 6-year-old for face painting and nap time. Finger painting and nap time. Mom is so used to not having to worry about them that she doesn't worry about me either. She just isn't a worrier. She thinks that all things will work out for the best. Worrying doesn't seem to run in the Wu family. Maybe I really am an alien. I I worry more than anyone I know and more than anyone in the history of the world. Now that I'm going to middle school, how can I not? As if to rub in the fact that summer was basically over, I got a package from my new school. The mailman had to deliver it personally because it didn't even fit in the mailbox. When he handed it to me, I could have sworn he gave me a look that said, "Run, if only that was an option." It was the official Poindexter Middle School welcome packet, but it didn't make me feel welcome at all. Inside, there were long lists of school supplies and never-ending instructions on how to prepare for class and a million rules and expectations and way too much information. It's like I was reading more than I'd done all summer. Seeing into that welcome packet sent Mom into crazy back-to-school mode. The smell of new erasers and sharpened pencils must have gotten to her. When we were out shopping, she's dancing and prancing down the aisles and gushing over backpacks and folders, all of things. We left the store with at least 3 years worth of wide-ruled paper, every kind of notebook you could possibly imagine, and an assortment of embarrassing cartoon animal folders that I would never use in public. It wasn't just my mom either. When I talked to my best friends Maxine and Logan, they said their parents were acting really weird too. Logan's mom made him pose and take pictures in front of the house in his first day of school outfit. The first day of school wasn't even for another week. Maxine's dad brought out yearbooks from the 70s and made her look through embarrassing old pictures of him with bell bottoms and big hair. I didn't know how any of this was supposed to make us feel better about starting middle school. Parents are clueless. Well, at least some of them. But still, we had each other. With Maxine and Logan around, the middles wouldn't be so bad. The three of us have known each other for a long, long time. Since kindergarten, which was basically forever ago. It all started when Miss Wilson separated us from the class at lunch. We were forced to sit at special peanut allergy table for the whole year. We've been best friends ever since. Logan St. Clair is the smartest person I know, and probably the smartest kid in our grade. But he doesn't care about stuff like that. He thinks class is boring, so he only pays attention when he feels like it. He usually does his homework, but he always forgets to turn it in. I don't understand how his mind works most of the time, but I know for the fact that Logan St. Clair is a genius. He's the kind of genius that no one knows about until one day when he wakes up and decides he wants to take over the world, and then does it. I guess when that happens, being his best friend won't hurt. Maxine Berry could probably take over the world one day too. She has an amazing superpower. When she wants something to happen, she makes it happen. Maxine knows everything. And according to her, choosing what to wear on the first day of school is the most important thing. She knows stuff like this because her mom gets her subscriptions from 17 and Teen Vogue. My mom just brings me a couple home old copies of Economist. No wonder I'm out of the loop. Besides, Logan and Maxine, the only good thing about Poindexter Middle School is that right around the corner from my favorite whole place in the world, Antoinette's Bake Shop. You can smell the freshly baked pastries from the school parking lot. There's no one named Antoinette though. I don't think Antoinette even exists. But the bakery is owned by this old man named Ivan, who reminds me of a walrus, but isn't nice and doesn't smell like dead fish. My friends and I go to Antoinette so much that Ivan considers us regulars. Plus, if we're there around closing time, he lets us take home as many leftover pastries as we can carry. Ivan's the best. When I told him I was starting middle school soon, he made a face that just said, "That's tough." He doesn't usually say much, but when he does, he always speaks the truth. Sometimes I think he's the only truly honest adult. Like one time I wanted a double fudge chocolate chip cookie, but Ivan wrinkled his nose and shook his head a little, so I chose the butter pretzel, covered in homemade cinnamon sugar instead. It was amazing. Not all adults are that honest. On the way back home from back to school shopping, Mom made a surprise stop at Antoinette's and offered to buy me a pastry. As it turns out, the pastry was a trap. Let's talk about school. She buttered me up with baked goods and then ambushed me into school talk, specifically electives. In middle school, everyone has to choose an elective class. There are a zillion different classes to choose from, which sounds like a good thing, but it's actually just another trap. Think about it. What if I end up stuck there? What if I'm not good at it? What if I choose the wrong thing? What if no one likes me there? What if I don't even get elected into one? This is definitely a trap. The worst part is that choosing your elective feels like a declaration, a way of saying it to everyone. This is my thing. That's fine for most people, but I don't have a thing. I didn't know I needed one until now. That's all I'm reading for now.
I'm sorry, I was so wrapped into the story, I was waiting for you to finish the book. Great job, great job, great job, great job. And one more time, and if you can just tell everybody who you are one more time, what grade you're in, because I'm sure people are wondering, because you are so eloquent and articulate. I love hearing you read.
I am Ayana. I'm 12 years old, and I'm in the 7th grade.
Well, all right. Anybody have any questions for Ayana and the book that she read?
Yeah, I have a question. What is that book called? Sounds like Judy and Moody.
Ayana, can you hear her?
I think she's unmuting herself.
Okay, I was trying to unmute myself. It's similar to Judy Moody, but it's not quite Judy Moody. The book is called Frazzled, Everyday Disasters and Impending Doom.
Oh, that's a cool book.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was Judy Moody. You're welcome.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Ayana. I appreciate you coming on and reading with us. So is that the end of the book?
Nowhere near it.
Oh, so you have to come back and finish the book. Ooh, all right. So we'll be seeing you often. Great job. All right. Tell you what, I have a question for Miss Bukowski. Being that she's a principal and we have our brilliant young scholars, how important is reading and literacy for young people? Why, for all of our parents who are watching, why is it so important that our young people learn to read and be able to really digest and interpret what they're reading?
So, Daryl, before I answer that question, I just want to say how amazed I am with Amaya and Ayana. If I were their principal, I would be all over the place promoting them. Great examples of literacy in youth, and just the poise and elegance both of them had. It's fantastic. I'm so proud of them, and I don't even know them. So, so literacy is everything is grounded in literacy. Everything is grounded in literacy. So, if you're later on when you're learning math and science and history and even into an adulthood, you need to be able to read. The best thing you can do for your children is give them 10 minutes of your time every evening, every morning, whatever works into your schedule. Let them read to you, and if they're not quite there yet, you read to them. Just instilling the love of reading is something that's going to last throughout their lives, and I'm venturing to guess that both Amaya and Ayana had that experience, because and they're shaking their head yes, because that's what paves the way for success. Is just that time with books and reading, and not to mention, I mean, even just like the social emotional connections you build with your child while you're reading, even cuddling up with them when you're reading a good book, or, my kids are now 20 and 18, so cuddling's not going to happen, but still I like for them to read to me, and it builds a lot of connection, and it's a lifelong skill.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. Rob, is there anything you'd like to add?
No, I thought they're wonderful, and I think Ms. Bukowski elaborated very eloquently and comprehensively that reading is very important, and be animated. Daryl, you and I have traveled around the city at different schools and read to kids. We read to our own kids, and one of the things that gets them excited about reading is how animated, how you bring the characters on the page to life, and it gets them engaged and gets them involved, and it sparks increased interest, but a yearning for reading. And reading is very important, especially when it comes to critical thinking and deductive reasoning, that you read and you know what you're reading about so you can formulate your own opinions. And I know these two young ladies are formulating their own opinions on things. And it was just interesting and heartwarming just listening to them dialogue about, oh, I thought it was this author, but no, it's this author instead. It's like, those are some readers right there. Those are some readers. And keep up the good work.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right, folks, as usual, we don't like to keep everybody on. We want to make sure that people have time every Saturday morning to grab a book and read with your own child. That is the goal. We want to make sure our kids are reading. It does a number of things. Like I said, it helps you to comprehend what you're reading. B, helps you to enhance your vocabulary range. C, it helps you develop your analytical skill, your analytical abilities. So there's just so much that can be gained from reading. And it's like when you find that one story that just resonates with you and you just carry it with you for the rest of your life. I think the very first book that I read from beginning to end was the autobiography of Abraham Lincoln. And I don't know why after that, I just hung out in the Meriden Library in my hometown. Every day after school, I'd run to the library, grab me a book, and I would just read. So the book that changed my life, the autobiography of Malcolm X, I'll never forget that book. And actually, I have 5 of them here, and I give them out to anybody who says they want to read a book. There's nothing like reading. So I have to ask, Amaya, what was the first book that you read all by yourself from beginning to end? Do you remember?
Here, love.
Hair Love. I love that book. I told you that last time. Ah, great book.
And I love Malcolm X. That one, I read that.
You read that book too?
No, never. But I love him.
You know what? I have a book for you. I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna give it to your nana to give to you. Is that cool?
Hamuma.
Oh, I couldn't remember.
Nana is in Alabama.
Alabama. All right, that's Alabama. Muma. All right. So I have a book. I'm gonna give to your Muma. I have to write this down on my board so I remember it. Muma, so that you can have reading Malcolm X for kids. So I got that for you. And
This is show people. That's Hair Love.
That's it. Hold on, let me put it on the big screen so everybody can see it. Hair Love. So watch the video. It's awesome. But more importantly, read the book. That's a great book right there. You got that book?
Yeah.
You enjoy that book?
I love it.
All right. And Miss Ayana, same question. What's the first book you read from cover to cover on your own?
First book I read cover to cover on my own was actually the story of Helen Keller. It was a really small chapter book, and I read it in like maybe the 2nd grade because my teacher was reading a different book, and I didn't want to hear about the pink elephant who jumped with the balloon. So I read the Helen Keller book.
I'll go upstairs to get a book.
I can't argue with that. Wow. Well, all right.
I mean, I pronounced so many words wrong at the time, but it was like that was the first book I actually read cover to cover.
Okay. So I take it that you enjoy it like Amaya, because I know Amaya enjoys reading. So you also enjoy reading a lot?
She said yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Well, awesome. All right, you guys. I want to thank you, all 3 of our incredible readers, for coming on. Ms. Bukowski, thank you. There's nothing like our educators coming into it to join us and read with us and, engage our kids. That's like an honor. So some folks are looking at our first vice president and they're going crazy, but I'm looking at our teachers and our principals and the folks who are
I'm going to be right.
who are on the front lines every day, creating miracles and creating scholars like this all over the world. So thank you, Ms. Bukowski. We really, really, really appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. Amaya, Ayana, I've told you guys before, I'll tell you over and over again, you're so inspiring. Because you, I just got 3 new books, and I'm going to go read from Superman to Man, and I'm going to enjoy that. Just because you guys got me inspired, I want to go read as well. I hope that all the folks who are watching, I hope you share this video. I hope you tell somebody about this. If you have young scholars who would like to read, and I just seen someone, I apologize, I cannot pronounce her name. But if your daughter would like to join us next Saturday and read a book, we are all for it. That's what we're here for. You can inbox me. My name is Daryl Moss, and just let me know. Or you can inbox Audera Cave and let her know. Either one of us will get right back to you. Or you can email me at dmoss, DMOSSLIVE, dmosslive@gmail.com. And we'll get right back to you, give you all the information. And we would love to have her on. Just tell her to be prepared to talk about how awesome she is and talk about the book that she's going to read. And that's it. Unless if anybody has anything they want to offer before we close off, I just got to say thank you one more time. I am so appreciative. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, goodbye, everybody. We'll be back next Saturday. This is the Youngvscholars Academy of Springfield, Mass. And if you have a young scholar you'd like to get involved, ask them to join us. Goodbye, Maya. Goodbye, Yana. Miss Bukowski. Goodbye.
Goodbye.